So that's the relationship by that with this team. Now in 2004, again, they got in the championship series with that team from New York, whose name I cannot speak. And every year before that is the same thing. It was etched in stone. It was written in the stars. Let's say that this top of this guitar here is the cliff that overlooks the baseball promised land. Here on the top of the cliff is my team every year, wandering right up in October to the edge, looking over. Oh, it sure is beautiful down there. And then the wind comes and blows them off the edge, and that team, whose name I cannot speak, slides down to the promised land laughing. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it will always be. That's what we expect. But still, we watch. And they get in the championship series with that team, and they lose the first 3 games. They didn't just lose them. They got spanked. They got humiliated. They got treated like babies. It was unbelievable. We're sitting around the house going, you're not even trying. And then they won the 4th game, and now we're looking at the TV going, you're just trying to aggravate us now. But then they won the 5th game, and they didn't just win it, they pulled it out of their ass. It was a miracle. If you watch that game, you cannot believe that the Red Sox won that game. It was not supposed to happen. Somebody in heaven was asleep at the wheel. So they won the 4th game and they won the 5th game. And I know it's a bad idea. And I know it's a bad idea. And I know it's a bad idea, but I can't help it. I believe. I believe. Now, when you watch your team, your favorite team in a championship series, you probably live and die with every pitch. That's for babies. That's for children. That's nothing. I laugh at that. When I was watching that 6th game, I was watching it on the molecular level. I was zoned in to every molecule in the field. I could tell that 2 blades of grass grew a 1/16 of an inch between the 5th and the 6th inning in right center field. I could tell that some guy from Quincy just bought a hot dog in section 15. I was zoned into every neutron and every grain of sand within 5 miles of Fenway Park. And it was at that exact moment that my wife decided that she wanted to be a baseball fan. I'm zoned into the molecules, and she's tapping me on the shoulder. Dawn, what's an RBI? Dawn, why don't they wear the red shirts? I like the red shirts. Don't you like the red shirts? I like the red shirts. I'm looking at her. I'm like, I'm gonna have to kill you. If you want to be a baseball fan, talk to me in April! But I didn't kill him. Thought about it, but I didn't do it. What happened was, we had a family meeting, and my son and my daughter and I, we all took turns educating her. We'd be like, okay, it's the 5th inning, who's got Ma? The other 2 of us would be watching the game, and you could hear over here, no, you can't leave the base until the guy catches the ball. So what happened eventually in that series is that she learned just enough about baseball to realize that it was the most intense series in the history of any sport ever. So she went from, oh my God, there's nothing going on that TV, to, oh my God, how can you stand the pressure of that? And unfortunately, she didn't have an accumulated 40 years worth of emotional scar tissue that the rest of us Red Sox fans that had to help buffer the agony of every moment of it. She was totally helpless. She had learned just enough to be completely out of her mind. Her eyeballs were rolling around her head and her just flailing her arms and walking around. How can you stand this? How can you take it? I can't stand it. And eventually, she went upstairs to watch on a TV by herself. And she told me this later, when it was so intense up there. She said it was so intense, and it was so intense with every pitch. When it got really intense, she would channel surf over like to CNN, watch people blowing the shit out of each other in the Middle East, and that would calm her down. That's right. And eventually, the Red Sox won. Not just that series, but then they won the World Series. And it was amazing. It was astounding. My mother and father were there. We were all there watching the game. And the guy, the last out of the game in the World Series, to win the World Series, it went to the pitcher, and he held it like it was an egg. And he went over to the first baseman, he threw it gently like this. And all of us Red Sox fans in the living room, we were all prepared to go, because that ball was supposed to go in the third row. Somebody, like an airplane, was supposed to fly by and hit it. Something unbelievable was supposed to happen, but it didn't. A miracle happened. The first baseman caught the ball, and he didn't drop it, and he stepped on the base, and the umpire said, the guy's out, you win the World Series. And we and my family were in shock. We were in shock. We didn't jump up and down and scream. It was like a trauma. And we were sitting around in the living room, my dad and my mom and my son and my daughter, and it was just quiet. And my dad has not been one of those dads that will give you a lot of fatherly advice. You know what I mean? He's not that kind of dad. The only other time before this moment that I can remember him giving me any fatherly advice is one time he gave me some advice on gun control, which I was surprised because I didn't think he had opinion on a subject like that. But he said to me one time, son, no drinking man with half a brain will ever have a gun in his house. And I said, well, why, Dad? He said, because, son, sooner or later, your wife will shoot you with it.